If the first test was heroic, the second test was an honest reflection of the West Indies. And we're not surprised. But coming into the second test, the big question for me wasn't whether the West Indies could win, it was whether they could kick on from what we saw in the first test match. That performance from Justin Graves, Shea Hope, Kimar Roach in Christchurch was outstanding. It was brave, disciplined, and it nearly chased down history. But you have to do more than chasing down history. It's about what you do after that moment. And unfortunately, the second test in Wellington gave us a pretty clear answer. It wasn't close. West Indies lost the match by 9 wickets. They were bowled out for 128 in the second innings. And New Zealand knocked off 56 runs before tea on day 3. That alone tells you how one-sided the test became. And zooming out for context, this is New Zealand's first test win in the current World Championship test cycle, while West Indies have now lost 6 of their 7 matches in the cycle and are still winless. That's not bad luck, that's a pattern. And the reality check is always the batting. Because on a pitch where Ruston Chase himself admitted was easier for batting than Christchurch, the West Indies simply didn't capitalize. Yes, there were starts. Hodge 35, Graves 25, Brandon King got 22 before he was run out. But that's the story we keep telling ourselves. Starts, no conversions, no one taking the game away. Once King was run out and Shea Hope fell cheaply in the same passage of play, the innings collapsed. At 88 for 6, with a lead still under 20 runs, the test match was effectively over. If Shea Hope doesn't contribute, if Graves doesn't contribute, nothing happens in this series. And Chanderpaul, who got some runs in the first test match, was missing due to injury. That's not sustainable cricket, and you require world-class bowling to be even in the test match. And to be fair, the bowling was okay. They didn't bowl terribly. They dismissed New Zealand for 278 for 9. That score you can work with, but the problem is that West Indies still conceded a lead, and they allowed key contributions from Conway and Hay. And at this level, when your batting is fragile, your bowling has to be ruthless. It has to create margin. And West Indies, they just don't have that kind of a bowling setup in this series to create the kind of margin. And to be honest, it doesn't even matter if you had the greatest bowling attack in the world, it still wouldn't erase the kind of issues with the batting. But the second test again reminds us of something. You can't rely on heroics, you need system. The first test was an outlier. The second test, it's the regression to the mean. And right now that means for West Indies, a bad set of performances. And we can't sugarcoat it. I don't know how to say it any other way. It's just bad. There's still one test match to go. And yes, possibly you could level the series. But until the side finds consistent batting depth and players who can bat through sessions and not just flashes of form, these results are going to keep repeating. The first test was inspiring. This one, sobering. And sometimes honesty is the hardest thing to watch. But if you're a fan of this great Caribbean nation, you just have to take the whole David Rudder thing and say, rally. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Can they find a way in the third and final test match that comes up in a matter of days? Thanks for liking. Thanks for subscribing.